Alright, so I already started recording this video and I screwed it up by dumping spoilers without giving a warning. So, spoilers for My Hero, the My Hero Academia series finale. I just got done watching it yesterday and it was really, really good. I'm going to go over a bunch of stuff for the series as a whole, but primarily I want to nitpick some stuff for the last few episodes. So spoilers, you've been warned. If you haven't finished it, click away now, stop listening. So the first nitpick that I have is when Midoriya is fighting Shigaraki, he literally has to give all for one to Shigaraki. They find a crack in his defenses, mentally, and the only thing that could penetrate further and get through, because the real Shigaraki, who he is underneath all the crazy white hair and the lust for destruction, he's just a scared kid who got a terrible power at a bad time. If you know the backstory, it's so effed up, but we'll talk about that in a second. So basically Midoriya has to give One for All away to Shigaraki to get this plan to work, to break through all of this stuff, to get to the true Shigaraki. It's not one by one, but it's in chunks. All of the previous wielders and users of One for All basically they go into Shigaraki, little bits at a time. And what ends up happening is Shigaraki's grandma, who was one of the users, she gets left behind. That was a good call. But I think it would have been better if her and All for One's brother, he was the first user, I think he also should have stayed behind. Because that would have been a little more... the story arc of All for One and One for All would have been wrapped up a little better, in my opinion. I think I would have liked that more if they were the ones staying behind and kind of experiencing everything that's happened to Shigaraki and all this stuff together, all three of them. Because after Deku makes contact with the kid version of Shigaraki, that puts him in such an emotionally unstable state that All for One's consciousness literally comes out of nowhere and takes control over his body. So Shigaraki got his powers when he was a little kid, but the most sad, just depressing, effed up thing about it is when he discovered he had these powers, he was outside alone holding his dog, crying, and his power is decay. Whatever he touches immediately just kind of disintegrates. So he kills his dog. His sister went out there to go look for him and saw the pile of dog chunks. And so the sister freaks out, thinking that he killed, well, he did, but thinking that he killed the dog intentionally. She runs in to go, tell her mom and dad or whatever. He tries to stop her, not understanding what he has done, with his powers. Kills his sister. So then it gets even worse. We then find out that All for One is the freaking dude. That's how Shigaraki got those powers. That's how far back All for One has been planning and choreographing this insane plan. he's the one who gave Shigaraki the power of decay. And it literally is because of him that all that crap happened. And that was just such a what a gut punch, dude. Like, are you freaking kidding me? He literally has been pulling the strings even beyond what we initially thought. And that's just, ugh. Like, it literally leaves a bad taste in my mouth in like a good way. Like, you're supposed to be disgusted with this realization, and I am. Like, oh, that's so bad. The other thing, nitpick, now again, like, these are nitpicks, these are just things that I personally would have preferred to have seen happen, but all the same that it did or didn't happen, it's still a really good show. After All for One takes his body back, there's like this pretty cool, like, almost Avengers Endgame moment where all of Class 1A show up to help Deku. And I'm like, it was like they were using the guy who can warp. He's like, looks like he's made out of shadow. I want to say Kuragiri or something like that. He used to know Aizawa and Mike in back in the day. They went to that school when they were kids. That character. They use him to warp everyone to the battlefield like freaking Avengers Endgame. And speaking of which, it's funny that I've noticed something obviously in recent times is that Western comics has had an influence on anime, because like All Might's character, like just like the actual design is like, it's so like mid-90s American comic, it hurts. Sorry about that, I'm adjusting my mic. So what I was saying, so like the Western comic book influenced All Might's design, right? And now anime in general is influencing like Marvel and Western comics. Like, if anybody's seen Marvel Rivals, it's a video game. Like, that game has a ton of like anime-esque stuff. Like Penny Parker, she's one of the spider women or spider characters, right, from Spider-Man. Her mech looks like a freaking what were they called? Oh shucks, I just seen it not that long ago too. It looks like it's one of the mechs from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Like they clearly were influenced by that, right? And then going back the other way, Midoriya's powers, like the stuff that he can do, how he like moves around with the whip now, like it was influenced, I think, by Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales. I don't know why that one specifically, but like that's what it kind of reminded me of. So it's just funny seeing how we're like East and West is constantly bouncing back and forth, influencing itself. Especially in My Hero specifically. Because also there's the character Twice. When I first seen him, the way he acted, the way he talked, I was like, this is basically like Deadpool, but if Deadpool was depressed. Like, the split personality and all that stuff, and the voices in his head were actually taken seriously, and it wasn't just played for laughs. But the other nitpick is that and a lot of people are going to be pissed off at me for what I'm about to say. So when they have that MCU moment and all the students from Class 1A show up, basically they're just there to distract All for One long enough for Deku to get off one more hit on him to finish him off. And I was in the bathroom, not TMI, I was in the bathroom when I was watching this on my phone. when all of them show up and they start, helping him out, and freaking You Say Run starts playing, I popped off. I popped off when I was in the bathroom. I was getting hyped all by myself in the bathroom, and it's pretty freaking funny. But anyway, I think, personally, for me, I think it would have been just a little bit more cool if, like, maybe an episode or two, or maybe even earlier in that episode, we find out that All Might didn't make it, and so that All Might could appear with Deku in that final move, and not like the ragged, beat up All Might, which I'm not really sure how that works. If, like, because, like, all the previous users of One for All, when they appear, I'm like, do they, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what, like, do they just appear as they, like, that's how they were when they died? Or is it, like, is it a manifestation of their most, like, powerful version of themselves? You know what I mean? Like, what dictates how they look, basically, is what I'm getting at. I don't know, but I think it would have been dope to see All Might show up in his, full power, form, all hulked out, and being with Deku there, giving him, just basically like having one more scene, almost like a father-son Kamehameha type deal. Like, it's Deku throwing the punch, right? And All Might's just right behind, like, the ghost of All Might is right behind him, so to speak. I think that would have been a little more epic. So, pardon me, I'm eating my lunch. So I remember, like, I want to say 6 or 8 months ago, people, man, maybe even more, maybe like a year ago. But basically, the ending of My Hero's manga happened a good while ago, right? I'm an anime only person. Not that there's anything wrong with manga or whatever, but I prefer to digest my media that way. I remember everyone and their mother was up in arms, and, like, they were, like, doing memes of, like, Deku working at McDonald's and crap, and, like, Bakugo friggin', like, risen up Uraka and stuff. And these were all in, like, thumbnails, so I didn't want to spoil myself, but I was just like, basically everyone was pissed at the ending. And I don't know if, like, the anime changed it or something, because, again, I didn't read the manga, so I don't really know. But at the end, Deku gets, like, a kind of like the cyber suit armor thing that All Might was using when he fought All for One at the end. I don't know. I'm cool with that ending. Like, I don't know how accurate it was to the manga or not, or if they just, like, tacked that on at the very literal last second. Because it literally says the end, right? And then All Might, like, grasps the kanji for the end and crushes it. And him and Midoriya have a moment, and he gives him that suit. So I don't know if they just kind of, like, tacked that on or whatever, But I'm good with that. Because the suit mimicked all of his powers that he had when he had All for One. Or, I'm sorry, One for All. And so I don't understand, like, if the anime's ending is as accurate as it's to the manga, I'm not pissed off at all. Like, he's still got to be a hero. He still gets to go out there, and do his best. It kind of insinuates that a specific amount of time passed because Bakugo's the number one hero right now. And so it's kind of like insinuating that, like, Midoriya didn't get this suit right away. Like, time has passed. He's only gotten it now. So now he can throw his hat back in the ring, so to speak. And I'm good with that ending. Like, I think that ending's great. So now let's talk about, like, where does the anime as a whole, like, where does it stand? Because the show as a whole, the series as a whole is really, really, really good, but man, because I see so many people, especially like the Naruto fanboys, like, they always get like pissy about it. Like, I always see them comparing Bakugo to Sasuke, and I get it, like, they're rival characters to the main character, so that's not lost to me. But in my opinion, I feel like My Hero at the time when it was like first airing and stuff, like, the rival character who isn't like either doesn't become an evil scumbag or, like, you know, just totally does a 180 or whatever, like, they're no longer fighting for the good guys, like, that trope has been done to death. So at least to me, Bakugo is more of like a fresh perspective of, like, no, he's still a hero. Yeah, he's kind of like, he goes about it not always in the best way. But I remember even, like, when the villains kidnapped him, like, they really thought, like, oh, this dude's, he could be one of us, like, he's on the fence or whatever. Like, at some point they got it, the League of Villains got it in their head that, like, oh, he might actually fight for our cause. And it was just, I don't know about you guys, but when I seen that, I was like, no, like, this doesn't, like, again, I get it, like, he's over the top and aggressive in pretty much everything he does, but no, that thought's probably never even crossed his mind. Like, he has zero intentions of doing that. Excuse me. So, like, for the time, I think he is better than Sasuke. Now, before I say anything else, I just want to preface that I tried to watch Naruto, and for whatever reason, it just did not click with me. Probably because I had to, like, start watching it. Like, the very first episode of Naruto, the original Naruto that I had ever seen, was he was fighting Gaara in some kind of forest, and, like, Gaara was, like, slowly transforming into, like, this giant one of the tailed beast things. Well, I don't, you know, I don't know the story of Naruto like that. I'm just assuming that's what it was, or he was turning into some kind of, like, sand monster. And that's how I picked up from there and, like, watched some of it. I had started watching, years later, I had started watching Shippuden from the very beginning. And that one was a lot more interesting to me, and it was holding my attention a lot more, but I forget what happened. This was before I you know, streaming platforms and, you know, internet being, like, commonplace. So that's probably why I fell off with that one. Maybe one day I'll sit down and, like, give it a shot, but for now I've never seen it. So just based on what I know vicariously through others about Sasuke, I would pick Bakugo over Sasuke, but that's kind of unfair to him. Just throwing that out there. But looking back at the series, the first season was really good. It sets up everything, you know, pretty, like, quickly. Like, okay, like, you know, the greatest hero of all time is actually, like, losing his powers slowly. Like, he's a decrepit old man when no one's looking. You know, this kid who's got no powers wants to be a hero, and now he has a chance to literally be under the tutelage of the greatest hero ever. There's a villain organization that's starting to form, and they want to, you know, break down heroism as a whole. Like, was season 2 the sports festival? Or was that season 3? No, I think it was. The sports festival arc was really cool because it wasn't just like battles, you know, like that's stereotypical anime stuff, like tournament arc, you know, battle royale arc, whatever, right? So that was cool to see that it was like for the most part sports themed. They had to do like, what was that, the one where they had to carry somebody around, like it was like a weird abstract game of tag or something like that. Like that was cool. It was interesting. It wasn't just here's a tournament bracket, everybody's fighting everybody, you know, which yes, they did do that near the end of it, but like I said, they mixed it up a little bit. It wasn't just, you know, fight. I also liked what season was that? I want to say it's, again, I'm probably getting the season numbers wrong. I'm like trying to remember the series of events that transpired in order. But I also like that there were, what you call it, like, so like there were like not necessarily whole seasons, but good chunks of seasons where characters kind of got to be more or less by themselves. Like they weren't just constantly around the other classmates, you know? Like when Deku fought, was it Muscle? I forget what that guy's name is. Like that was pretty much just Deku more or less by himself. I can't remember what they were doing. It's with the characters that dress like cats and stuff. Because this was a long time ago. And your unk can't remember that well. But I'm really trying to think, and like, were there any really like serious low points in the series as a whole? Maybe, what was that, like season 6 where Deku was like a vigilante kinda? I think that was like too sissified, if you will. Like he wasn't really a vigilante. He was still getting help from All Might. He was still, you know, teachers and you know, higher ups were still supporting him in the shadows. He wasn't really like doing anything crazy. It was just kind of like spun that way because he was like, because technically he's not allowed to do heroism without a license or something, or without being appointed by whoever. You know, he didn't have the paperwork basically, but he still did it anyway. And his, you know, he never changed his outfit or whatever, so it's like all bloodied and beaten, and he did look a little crazy. I do enjoy that design, the vigilante Deku, whatever. But I feel like that, like I said, I feel like they wanted to have their cake and eat it too. So if I did have to say there was a weak point, it would probably be that arc. They really kind of wanted to sell like, oh yeah, he's on his own and no more friends, no more this, no more that. And it's just like, All Might's still helping him out and stuff. Like, it's not true. Like, I would have liked to have seen not necessarily like a split up or a beef between him and All Might, but like, because obviously All Might already knows like Deku's gonna jump into danger and help whoever, whenever, wherever, regardless of what anybody says. But I think it would have been nice to see like a true, like, Deku is just on his own. He's doing his own thing. He's not listening to rhyme or reason, and he's just taking matters into his own hands. Like, without anybody help. Like, nobody actually really supports what he's doing right now. You know, like I like I said, I don't like that having your cake and eat it too kind of thing. Like, either you're fully committing to the vigilante thing or you're not. Like, don't call it that then. Like, I don't know. They could, you know, just call it something else. Don't call it the vigilante, because he wasn't. So I just remembered now. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Season 1 is obviously the start of the series. The Nomu attacked the school. Season 2 was the hero killer. I'm pretty sure. Then season 3 was the UA festival. Season 4 was with Overhaul, the guy with the plague doctor mask. Or no, was he season 5? Because somewhere between the festival and Overhaul, Deku fights the muscle dude. man, your uncle, like I said, man, my memory's not that hot, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm really trying to think of like weak points in the series, and the vigilante arc is the only real like weak point to me, if you could even call it that. So it's still good. It just could have been handled a little better. And again, like, I never read the manga, so I don't know like how accurate it is, if it's like spot on, or you know, at what points did they take liberties with stuff, you know? Because in my opinion, I think anime, like, whatever came first, manga or anime, it doesn't matter, but the one that whoever adapts from the other one, I think should change things up just a little bit. Not too much, not too drastically, you know, no filler, please. But if they're, so for example, like the Chainsaw Man anime and the manga, like, according to like my social circles and the internet at large, like, Chainsaw Man anime is almost like 1-to-1 with the manga. Like, if you were to break it down into a percentile of how much the anime is like the manga, it's like no joke, it's like 98-99% the same. And to me, I'm like, well, people who read the manga aren't gonna really be interested in watching the show, because it's like, you know what I mean? If it's the exact same thing, what's even the point then? And I'm inclined to agree, which is why I really think it's good that they changed the very last few minutes of the final episode to where Deku's allowed to be a hero again. Because, like, I don't know if they really just were like, nope, he's an office worker, he works at the school. Oh, man, was he even? I don't even know. Like, the way they were making it sound online at that time when the manga concluded, they were making it sound like he wasn't even a teacher. Alright. So now comes a very serious question. Is it goated? If you were to have a conversation online, in person, with somebody, a fellow anime fan, would you be able to argue that the series is GOAT status worthy? Because, and I could have recency bias, 100%. It literally just ended like 3 days ago for me. Man. Maybe that's another video I'll do, like the GOATed and like my top 5 favorite anime of all time. Man, I don't know. Is it? Naruto gets a pass. Like, I'm not saying it's goated or not. I don't know. A good majority of people love it, so it, you know, it kind of gets a pass via word of mouth. But like, for me, like, off the top of my head, two that I think belong in the GOAT discussion for sure is like the Dragon Ball franchise as a whole. That's kind of cheating, because that's what, Dragon Ball Z, GT, Super, Daima. That's like 5 different series in one. But the reason why I consider it in the GOAT discussion is because of what it did for anime as a whole here in the West. Like, I'm sorry, you could say what you want about Naruto, Demon Slayer, One Punch Man, My Hero, like, all of these big league animes that we get and watch here stateside, they're all running, leaping, being victorious. I mean, Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man killed it at the box office this year. All of that's possible because Dragon Ball. And I'm sorry, you can get mad at me if you want to, but like, it is because of Dragon Ball Z specifically that anime got even remotely as popular as it is right now. I'm sorry. At this point, I feel like that's just an objective fact. Like, there's no way you can sit there and tell me like people would watch. Maybe nowadays people would start taking an interest in it because we've had other like, you know, like Naruto. Like a Naruto was kind of like another big push for the industry here in the States. After Naruto, man, probably One Piece, Demon Slayer for sure, and My Hero to an extent. Like I just don't think anime would be as big as it is without Dragon Ball. The other one that's goated for sure, Attack on Titan. Yeah. That, again, because I think Attack on Titan is something that you have to rewatch. Like, there's so much foreshadowing. There are so many things that are going on that on a first watch, you're not going to realize or know or, you know, have any understanding of. But that for sure is a goated one. Man, I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't. It's a really good one, My Hero. It's really good, but is it goated? It's goated, but is it like, does it belong in the conversations with the others? I don't know. I need more time to think about that one. But that's all your unks got for you today.